Well, hello, welcome to Digital Influence. Today I'm interviewing Dylis Guyan. Dylis is a B2B sales specialist and she has been working in sales for decades now and has taught hundreds and hundreds of business owners, entrepreneurs and professionals how to improve their sales process so they can get the right clients coming to them and sell more work and at higher prices. So I've been following Dylis's work online for months now and really enjoyed some of her training and resources, and I knew she'd be perfect for the show. So really excited to talk to her today. Welcome, Dylis. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much, Dallas. It's an absolute pleasure.
Fantastic. And so just tell us a little bit about your background. I know you've got a great story of your origin story as a sales success.
Yes, it made me laugh when you said I've been in sales decades, and you're absolutely right. If you cut me in two, I've got sales and sales management and marketing running through my veins. It's just what I have always done. So I actually started in the bank and then moved into bank assurance. So I became a financial advisor, and absolutely loved it. And that was the first sort of aha moment in terms of selling, that people don't want what you're selling, they want what your product or service will do. And in financial services, I wasn't selling life assurance, pension, income protection. I was selling that financial safety net of security for individuals and for businesses in case their income stopped for whatever reason, and they could maintain the standard of living. And I was like an evangelist, I was out there because I had experienced my father dying and leaving my mother without any life assurance, and how difficult it was for her. So I was really passionate about that. And after 9 months, I was promoted to a field sales manager to grow my own team. They were a fabulous team to work with, always achieved top 5% in the country. And then a few years later, I was promoted to regional director. So I was managing 70 advisors, field managers, and responsible for the bank branch targets in my region. And again, absolutely loved it. And I shared my passion with them and the steps, so if you want, my motto was, if you want excellence, show what excellence looks like. So it was a case of developing both my managers, and for the managers then to develop their people and to have that passion, for them to go out and put that safety net in place for families and businesses, and of course investment too, making sure people were getting the best return and it wasn't eroding the capital. So we were like a band of men, and women, of course. I had some fantastic women out there. And in 1999, we achieved top spot in the country. And we were at the conference, we were receiving all of the awards for everything, for recruitment, for retention, for compliance, which of course was a big thing, and against target. And I'm just going to very quickly tell you about then the bottom fell out of my world, really, in that my boss, who'd been my boss for 7 years, who I've highly respected, he was excellent, he taught me loads. All of a sudden, we'd got on brilliantly well, and then all of a sudden he changed towards me and he started this awful harassment campaign. And I didn't know why. And it was a few years later, I found out he'd died of motor neurone disease. And I wonder if it was that triggered this change of behavior. Anyway, whatever it was hideous. I was really quite stressed with it. And I thought, right, you've two options. You either put up and shut up, or you get out. And I tried to fix it and couldn't. And I thought, in my wisdom, right, I'm going to leave and set up my own consultancy. So I literally went from boardroom to bedroom. And, I was a single parent with 2 teenage children. And I thought, I've got to make this work. And I thought, right, I need to work with people who can pay and will pay. And my market, of course, was financial services. So I thought, right, I'm going straight into the blue chip market. And that was another big learning experience for me, understanding how important and you knowing who your ideal client is, because then you can tailor, you can do your research, of course, on these clients and find out about them, so that you go armed with knowledge, which really elevates you above your competitors. You know, if you know about your client, and you understand the world in which they work and operate, and you understand the competitors, you understand the clients, it makes the job so much easier. So there I was, literally boardroom to bedroom, and I put my plan together and set my goals, which again is really, really important. You know, there's Harvard Business School did some research that showed that I think they went back 20 years and visited students that had been through the university, and only 3% of those people had written down their goals and their plans. Only 3%. I mean, I was quite shocked at that. But those 3% earned more collectively than the other 97% put together. So, you know, if nothing else, write your goals and your plans. And I remembered this. And so I diligently wrote out my goals and my plan. And of course, I had some quite high goals, because I'd been on a very high income in my corporate job. And I was on my own. I had to earn the money, so, you know, pay the mortgage and everything. So that was all written down in my plan and what have you. And I literally then started, so I set up my prospect list, wrote out my prospect list, and literally started with yellow pages we have here. It's a business directory, and the telephone, and letters. And that was how I started. And within a month, I had a contract with Allied Dunbar, as was then, and which is Zurich now. And then went on to work with Norwich Union, which is Aviva, Barclays, Barclaycard, HSBC I've done work for, and many other financial services businesses. But, you know, although I was focused on that, and this is another learning, is that, you know, focus on your ideal client, but that doesn't mean that you're avoiding everyone else, and that no one else will know about you. Because then I had other types of companies come to me and say, look, can we talk? And so I did work with Pepe Jeans, the post office. I've done work with pharmaceutical companies, and Thornton's Chocolates, which is a big national company here. And in fact, I ended up doing work for them on and off for 8 years. And one of the big learnings from that was I went in to do a small piece of work, and then I went deeper and wider in the business, you know. So I did the first piece of work. I identified an opportunity for them to increase their corporate sales through the retail stores, and put a program together for that. And they increased those corporate sales from 126,000 to 1.1 million in 12 months. So it's about understanding the companies that you're working with, and getting in and you know, looking for other opportunities to help them. So it's about the insights that you can bring, and being that trusted advisor, sort of the partner, because I was very much the partner in the business. And then I went on to do a huge piece of work in Thornton's Direct, which was all about the systems and processes and the marketing program, the sales program. And to be honest, processes and systems are not my forte, but it was because it was around the sales and marketing. It all fitted together, you know.
Terrific. With the, I suppose your experience of being an internal provider first made it very easy for you to move into the sort of trusted advisor role as an external consultant.
Very much so, yes. And actually this trusted advisor piece is really important. And I think it's Charles H. Green, I think I've got that name right. He wrote a book about this. He's written a number of books. And the trusted advisor, I love this what do you call it, formula. It's credibility plus reliability plus intimacy divided by your self-interest.
Okay.
So it's about doing everything to make yourself credible, your knowledge, your understanding of your client, their world, their products and services, knowing your products and services, knowing your company and the different departments in your company if you're working in a larger company. So that all helps towards your credibility. And then the reliability is about doing what you say you're going to do. So if you're going to get a quote to someone, or you can reply to a proposal by a certain date, do it by the certain date. If you're going to call them, and just be that person that people say they always do what they say they'll do.
For sure, and that's really a test of trust. Like, we can have trust, but then it's when you promise and deliver, then the trust is confirmed. And up until then, it's a guess. But when you even delivering on the smallest things, like, phoning at 9 o'clock when you say, or making sure you'll lock the door when you go out, they're little things, because people can't really tell how good you are at your job. They can tell whether you look neat and tidy, whether you turn up on time, whether you do what you say you'll do, or other things that are sort of expected performance or behavior for your role.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can easily say, look, I'm highly reliable, but until you show those actions, it means nothing. It's just empty words at that point. So you're absolutely right. So you've got your credibility, reliability, and then the intimacy. It's about how close are we? How bonded are we? How much will I share with you that I will trust you with certain information? And it's, when you get that relationship and you just feel, I can trust this person and I will tell them things.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's that element of intimacy. So it's all of those. Now, the higher you can elevate those scores, the better. But the real kicker is that you divide it by your self-interest. Now, if your self-interest is high, in other words, it's all about me, it's all about my company, it's all about my product, and it's all about me hitting my targets, it's all about me being focused on getting you to sign on the line, then that will bring that element, your trust score, right down. So it's about being customer focused. And I honestly bang on about this. And I talked about being an evangelist when I was a financial advisor. I'm an evangelist in this space of sales and marketing, in the B2B space. And people tend to want to pay too soon. And what I mean by that is that they will product dump too soon. So the marketing would be full of, your products, features and benefits and so on. When I hear people making phone calls when I'm working with a company and I listen in to see what they're doing, the first opportunity they get, they're in and they're paying too soon. They're talking about their product and their service before they know really what's relevant anyway to each individual client. Then face to face, it's very similar. So they're doing the same,
Thinking of that formula. So what was the first one?
It was credibility plus reliability plus intimacy divided by self-interest. So the lower your self-interest score, the higher your trustworthiness.
Is there a test though? Can you, like, I know myself that once you're consulting with a client and they're sharing details about their business that are private, that indicate trust, then you've reached the point where you can start to flesh out some sort of agreement. And if you try to do it earlier, then you don't have the basis for negotiation. You're not even on the same page yet. Do you have any things that you look for through the sales process to say, look, we've achieved that trusted advisor status now? Are there specific things you look for before you proceed to a product reveal?
I think it's you have to build this. I don't think you just become the trusted advisor at your first meeting. I think you are trusted sufficiently to get that first sale. But certainly the thing that I look for, and I'm sure you've experienced this yourself, Dylis, and in fact, when we very first spoke, I I experienced it, so I hope you did too. So you have two people who've never met before, and you start to talk, and when there is an interest shown in the other person, and you listen to understand, not just listening to hear with the next question on your mind, really being interested. I was interested to hear about the fact you're married to an English girl, and of course that was interesting to me, and about where you are and what you're doing and all of those things. And so you have this distance, and all of a sudden it just closes.
Right.
And you feel that, I don't know how to even explain this other than it's a connection formed where you like the person.
Yes.
And you feel that that bonding.
Yeah.
Even
So
at
is
that
that the
quite
intimacy
early
component?
stage.
Do you think that's the
I'm sorry?
Is that the intimacy component?
I think that, yes, I think there's a lot of the self-interest bit there as well, because when you're interested and focused on the person, your
Sure.
self-interest is lower. Of course, you share the conversation, but I used to talk about this a lot in financial services, actually, and I used to feel it very much when I was in someone's home. That's a very intimate space, and you were a complete stranger going in there, and so you would have to develop the conversation and be interested in them. And it was literally like I could feel a barrier literally go down. It was like that. It was that. I used to feel it and think, I've connected.
Right. Yeah.
And then as you develop the relationship with a business that you're selling to, of course it's always a person. You're not selling to a business. It's the personal thing. It's thinking about those things and remembering, knowing your stuff and being up to date, and even if you don't know everything, at least know where to go to look for it, building that credibility, do the things you say you're going to do, maintain that intimacy and prove it. And I think that's great what you've said, Dylis, about it's not just saying it, you actually have to prove it. When people have to then understand that they can share things with you and trust you sufficiently to do that. Excuse me. I really should have turned that off before this.
No worries.
Let me just turn that off now.
I should mention and clarify, I'm not married to an English girl, just in case I get any angry retorts from my English girlfriend. But,
but she's English.
Yes.
That was me not listening properly, my goodness.
No,
I hope that hasn't thrown our trust out.
No, not a problem.
Well, maybe she might listen to this and think, there's maybe something in the wind.
Look out.
Yes. So I think building the trust is an ongoing thing.
And so that all really comes down to interest in the customer, and you need that to develop an understanding of the customer, which, as you've said, is essential to have before you even think of marketing or trying to sell to someone.
Absolutely. So, this research before is absolutely critical. You must look at the website, have a look at their profile on LinkedIn. I mean, goodness, we've got so much now these days with all of the technology. Google a business. And if you've got businesses on your prospect list, put them into Google Alerts. So this is google.com/alerts. And you can put any company in there, any company name, any individual name, a product type. You could put sort of financial services, changes in financial services, laws, whatever. And then whatever's happening on the internet, you will get an alert, depending on whether you want it daily, weekly, monthly, however. And it really does give you some great intelligence on your prospective clients that you've got on your list, people who you want to do business with. And I can give you an example of that if you'd like me to share this with your audience. I had a pharmaceutical company on my list, on my prospect list, and I put them into google.com/alerts. And this particular day, I got an alert to say that they had issued the financial report.
Right.
And so I had a look in there, and in the executive summary, the chairman had said what a fantastic year they had had, excuse me, a fantastic year, that they were up 20% year on year, which was phenomenal. I mean, really phenomenal results, but that they were being affected, negatively affected, to the tune of 5% on currency fluctuation.
Right, yeah.
And I thought, fantastic. So I cut and pasted that paragraph out of the financial report, and I sent an email to this guy called Mark, who I knew was the decision maker. And I said, dear Mark, I noticed in your recent financial report that your chairman, whatever his name was, I can't remember now, said, and I copied in that paragraph. And then went on to say that I work with pharmaceutical companies just like yours, helping them to increase their sales revenue, which of course would mitigate that currency, the negative effect of the currency fluctuation.
Mm-hmm.
If you're interested in increasing your sales and reducing this to help mitigate that, please call me on or email me at. Alternatively, I'll call you on Thursday morning at 8:45.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a call that morning. And he said, Dylis, how on earth did you know about this? And I said, I read it in your financial report. He said, yeah, you may have, but how on earth did you find our financial report? I said, I'm interested in you as a company. I've been following you, and I got that information. And it was like, wow, come and meet us. And It just elevated me above any competitors who might write and say, my name's Dylis Guyan, or Joe Blogs, and I work for XYZ, sales marketing company. We help companies with training programs, blah, blah, blah. The usual delete, or the usual letter in the bin. And
I guess you probably know before your prospects, in many cases, they wouldn't necessarily know everything that's going on in the organization.
Right from that subject line.
Mm.
So the subject line can reflect whatever that is that's going on in your particular marketplace. Some valuable information that you can bring your clients. And then, of course, once they open the email, that first paragraph has to grab their attention sufficiently for them then to read on. And the following needs to light the fire. It needs to grab their interest, and then and create the desire for them to then take some action.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so that first piece is so important. So you can look at newspapers in your industry, or industry magazines, whatever your niche is, and just really keep yourself ahead of the game and position yourself in that way, because I can guarantee you most competitors are not doing it. Most are still product dumping, and they're talking about features and advantages and benefits. Well, with technology now, you can go onto someone's website and find out all about their products and services.
For sure.
It's not like
the role of the salesperson has just completely changed, hasn't it? Because that was the only channel for people to find out information about the product. You had to meet the salesperson and get the brochure to learn about it. Now we can research months in advance and know what all the competitors are like and get reviews, so we can be fully informed about the product. Unless the salesperson can add extra value, they're pretty much irrelevant to the conversation.
Yeah, because why would they need you? They might as well just look on your website and order whatever it is. They don't need the salesperson. So the role of the salesperson has changed absolutely completely. And so you have to be the person who can bring those insights, who can help other businesses to achieve their goals. And again, I go back, and this is very simple, but it's not about the product, it's what the product will do.
Yes.
And how it can be used. And also understanding, what is why should they choose you over your competitor? Mm-hmm. Because you need to understand what is different about you. So just as an example of that, for me, as a B2B you might call me a B2B sales consultant, but actually I don't just look at the sales. I look at the whole process. So I will help businesses with attraction. So in other words, the marketing, because that's so critically important that you have enough quality leads coming in from the people that you want to do business with. So I help them with that and the sales process. So it's attraction, conversion. And it's no good being great at sales if you haven't got enough quality leads, and it's no good being great at bringing in the quality leads if you can't convert them. And then I look at putting a retention strategy in place, because if you put all of the work in to attract and convert them into a high-paying client, you really need a strategy that keeps them and prevents them going to the competitors. Because the competitors will be snapping at the heels of your best clients. So you must have a strategy in place that says, this is going to be my touch program for my existing clients. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, they'll get a phone call. Your best clients might get a phone call every quarter. You might take them to an event. You will send them valuable links to things. The trust equation that I was talking about, I sent that to many of my clients to say, look, I've come across this. I think you find this really interesting. So it's all of that sort of thing. I remember I sent them cards for when we first did business together. So it's like our anniversary of meeting, which is just a little bit different, a birthday card, a Christmas card. I will send them a thank you letter, and I send a handwritten thank you.
Which really stands out today.
Yes.
I know you've embraced technology in many ways in your business, and I'm sure emails and the phone are a big part of it. But as we're so used to getting email and so rarely get decent mail these days, it really stands out if someone takes the time to write you a handwritten note.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I ask the question when I'm working with people, and I say, how many of you have received a handwritten thank you letter? And hardly anyone. And the odd people who have, and I say, how did that make you feel? Oh my goodness, I was absolutely thrilled.
Wow. Yeah.
And just yesterday, I don't know whether you can actually see that over here. Can you see this bottle?
Yes.
This is I did a speaking engagement on last Thursday, and this bottle came in the post yesterday, and it's got on "Thank you, Dylis." It's printed, and then I got this lovely little card saying, "Thank you so much. It was so inspiring," and so on. And I was absolutely thrilled to pieces. I was.
The best thing you've had since you used to work for the chocolate company.
I'm sorry?
It's the best gift you've had since you used to work for the chocolate company.
Do you know what? Yeah, it is. I used to come with these outers. They called them outers, and they were sort of plastic trays with all of the chocolates. And I used to come home, used to give them to me, say, "Here, Dennis, you have these chocolates." And my kids used to say, "Mum, did you get any chocolates?" I go, "Yeah, look at this." We'd have friends around for a chocolate party.
Sounds like a great job for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So go on.
What kind of clients are you mostly working with at the moment, Dylis? Because I know you do some, a lot of sales training now as well. Do you still do consulting work?
I do, but actually, I was working absolutely 100% with the big corporates and international corporates. I was traveling around the world, so America and Canada, and I was in South America and Europe and so on. And you see, I think I'm just 27, but clearly I'm not 27. and so I thought, I can't keep doing this traveling. So I started to make a shift in my business model, and started to bring my skills to the SME market. So businesses who have got, up to sort of 5 to 50 employees, but don't have a sales and marketing department or a training department to help support the sales effort. And they're just, the sad thing with these people is that they will get salespeople who join, but they don't really get any deep sales training.
Mhm.
And the pressure's on for them to perform. And if they don't perform, they get pressure on from the manager. And then eventually a lot of them will leave and they join another company and go through the same rinse and repeat and get frustrated and feel a failure and so on. So I'm very committed to the salespeople of these SME businesses, but also businesses maybe where the business owner is doing their own selling.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
and I have a particular passion for these people because I think I mentioned to you before that my father went bankrupt when I was 16, and we had the official receivers in and the value, everything, and it was just hideous. And he just about had a nervous breakdown actually, and his behavior became so awful that because we lost the house, we lost everything, the house,
Right.
the business, the cars, everything. I went to what we call a council house here in UK. But his behavior was so bad that we went, the mother and the 4 kids went and left him.
Right.
And he ended up in my grandfather's garden shed for a week, and then in a caravan for a number of years. Then they got back together, and then unfortunately died when he was 52, but it was such a horrendous experience.
Right.
And he went bankrupt because he didn't know how to bring in new clients. He didn't know how to attract. He didn't know how to convert. So he didn't understand the sales and marketing. He was expert in what he did, but he didn't understand that he needed to be expert in sales and marketing. So this is where I bring my skills and my passion and my knowledge to the SME market to help if they've got salespeople, or if the business owner is doing the selling, then I will help them with their marketing activities, getting the right message out to the right people in the right way, to bring the kind of people in, those quality leads into their business. And then I help them with the process of converting. And good selling shouldn't be pushy and having all these nasty sales tactics. It's about being completely 100% customer focused and taking someone from a position of interest where they've said, hey, I'm interested, I'd like to hear more, to a position where they say, actually, I want to buy your product. And that is through questioning. It's an understanding the process of that questioning and getting deeper and really challenging what your clients are saying to get them to think deeper and differently about their business. And then where they're in a position and they say, yes, I would like to buy from you. So that's what I help the SME market do. Now, I'm still in this sort of transition phase because I've still got corporates asking me to do work for them, but I'm doing more of it in the UK rather than traveling abroad now. So I run my own workshops. So companies can either come and join the workshop, or I'll go and I'll still do in-company work, or I have private coaching clients. And in terms of my evangelistic activities and making sure I get my message out in a bigger way, I'm working on putting an online program together. So that will be launched in September, Contacts to Contract. So you won't be surprised by that name. It's the Contacts to Contract blueprint. And that part is the attraction piece. That's about how to bring in those quality leads. And then that will be followed by another program on the conversion, converting them from a prospect to a client. So that's what I'm up to.
I agree entirely about the need for the owner to be a salesperson, even if they're not selling externally. In a way, they've got to be selling internally. They've got to get people excited about it, or when they're talking to the CEO or business owner of an allied organisation, being able to say, look, this is what we're doing. This is how you could get on board. So having that sales skill is really central to just running a business. And I know myself, it's only as I started to finally get the hang of that things started to come together in other parts of the business, because often, even if you're not selling a product, you're selling your idea, whether you're trying to convince your child to turn the TV off, or trying to convince your partner to take the bin out, whatever it is, we're constantly having to negotiate and try to